And we are live. Uh,
Hello.
hello, hello. It is Mary Alice from Novel Effect and Haley, my colleagues, joining me as well.
Hello. I'm really excited to be here with you, Mary Alice.
Yes, and we are really, I mean, it's February. I know our days are getting a little bit longer, more sunlight, right? Spring is right around the corner and then summer. But we are really happy about Color My World and to talk about summer reading in February. And we've got some great ambassadors that are going to be joining us. But please, I know that the chat has already started. Please let us know like where you're joining in from. And I just great California, Seattle. I saw Alaska,
I know a
Texas,
lot of places
Washington.
that seem cold right now. I'm in Portland, Oregon, and we have a fake spring day happening right now. I'm trying to soak it in.
Oh, well, I just noticed that today specifically was a little bit more, a little bit more sunshine. So thank you all for joining us. And we are excited um, to talk all things novel effect. And so if you are new to novel effect, we wanted to make sure that you just knew all the ways that you can connect with us on our different social media platforms. And if you are new, that and you wanted to download novel effect like right now during this webinar, that QR code will point you in the right direction. And if you need any help, Haley, you are the perfect person for any help for going to support at noveleffect.com as well.
Yeah, you can reach out to us, or if you have questions while you're on this call, you can drop them in the chat. We'll try and help you out. But yeah, it's free to download on that QR code there. So if you are new, please give it a download, give Novel Effect a try when you're off of the call, and start experiencing the magic as you read.
Absolutely. And if anybody is new to Novel Effect, please like in the chat, let us know that if you this is something that you haven't tried out yet, we are, we're all here to help support, not just for summer reading, but all year long, 365 days. So I probably will come back to this slide just so that you can see the different platforms if you need to. But we are going to have a giveaway today, which is pretty awesome. So this will be asking everybody that is attending to pick your platform or multiple platforms, I guess, Haley, right? Whatever
Yeah.
platforms you use for social media, to share a takeaway, one big takeaway that's going to prepare you for summer reading. And the winner, chicken dinner. What do they get, Haley?
Yeah, they're going to win a Novel Effect Summer Reading School Plan. So I will get into all the details of what this entails in just a little bit. But spoiler alert, that means that all of your students will have access to Novel Effect at home for the 3 months of summer, so they can read all summer long with Novel Effect with their families at home. So it's a really, really amazing deal, really awesome thing that we are excited to share more about later on.
And I just went backwards just so that you can tag, make sure that on the different platforms that you can tag Novel Effect so that you can be part of. And I know that we have team members behind the scenes going to be watching, and we will announce the winner live before the end of this webinar. The only other bit of like business will be anybody that has registered to join us, we will be sending these slides so that, because I know that it's like trying to, get water out of a water fountain, right? Like the fire hydrant, that it's a lot. It's fast and furious. And so that you'll have all of these resources at the conclusion of tonight's webinar. So here we go. This is the part where like reading is magical, right? And we are all supporting it. We're supporting it at school, in our libraries, at home. And just to look at what reading can do, right? Like how it is really affecting all of these different literacy skills. And this is like our why. And I don't know, Haley, if you wanted to jump in, but this is the part that for the Novel Effect team that like makes our hearts pump, right? Fast and
Yep.
furious.
Yep. And it's us at Novel Effect, and it's also all of you who are here on this call, teachers, librarians, educators of all kinds. I think I speak for us all. This is what gets us excited. I'm a former educator myself, and an avid reader myself. My favorite part of teaching was having those magical reading moments with my students. So we know the magic that comes from reading together, and we're here to help foster more of those magical reading experiences together.
Oh no, I just see in the chat that Jennifer says she can't see the slides anymore. Anybody else having a problem with the slides? Because I see them. Haley, do you see them?
I do.
Okay, let's see if I change it, if that's going to help for Jennifer. Oh, okay, good. That other people can still see it. I don't know. Oh, and Maria can't either. I don't know. I don't know how to troubleshoot that one. Some people
Most
can
people
still
are
see
saying they
them.
can still see. I would maybe just refresh your browser if you're watching on a computer screen and see if they come back.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thanks for letting us know in the chat. Our first question was like, we'd love to hear from you and make this as interactive as possible. Like, what is the value? Thinking of that quote that we just saw, of students and families reading at home. I mean, this is not, we're talking about summer reading, but also this is all year long, that 365 days. I love it. Here's someone saying to refresh the browser and see if that comes back, or switch browsers. Julie Bennett from Canada, thanks so much for letting us know. You can see the slides. We'd love to have you answer this question in the chat. And as you are answering that question, we're just going to look at one more quote. This is powerful. This is the part about, that summer slide that we definitely want to avoid.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to read this one aloud, Mary Alice, because I think it's worth hearing that children who do not read during the summer can lose up to 3 months of reading progress, putting them at a disadvantage when school resumes. So we as educators, as former educator here, Mary Alice is former educator as well, we know all of the work that is going in all year round to build those skills. And people are chiming in the chat now. It's so important. Access is key. Language development, foster enjoyment of reading. Yeah, that love and excitement of reading. It's everything. I remember as a kid going to the library with my parents during the summer and getting to check out books, to track what I was reading and having that be like such an exciting experience together.
I love it. I love it. And I'm so grateful for taking the time to add your thoughts in the chat. So thank you so much. I just know when you were just talking about being in the classroom, we had like, when I was in the classroom, Drop Everything and Read, the DEAR program.
Oh yeah, we did
I
too.
remember like as a first year teacher, reading, and I was so enthralled in my book that I started to cry. And then I remember being kind of like flustered and embarrassed. And then immediately thinking, okay, it wasn't planned that I was going to cry about what was happening to these characters, but I was so happy as that first year teacher for doing that, because to be able to model like just how authentic, like how reading, you can go to an entire different world. Anyways, I'm glad that you brought that up, Haley, because it reminded me of that experience that as a first year teacher. So
yeah, and I'm seeing a lot of just kind of one major theme in the chat is that reading at home is oftentimes it's reading for enjoyment. It's fun. It's not forced. It's not for any purpose necessarily. And I think that piece is really, really important to underscore, especially during the summer, is it shouldn't be a chore. We want to help make that fun, engaging experience for children at home, and also with their parents. Like nobody wants to fight about needing to read. It should be that fun experience together.
Absolutely. And that idea too, with not just it's for families, right? Like that intergenerational, like I just even think about all the different family members and the different ages, and, that idea of drop everything and read, and that idea for just enjoyment. But this slide right here really kind of synthesizes why families use novel effect. And it would be great in the chat if your families are already using, like, what's the takeaway? What are the things that your families are saying they love about using Novel Effect would be really great. Do you have, like, out of those three right there, Haley, anything like jump out at you that like that's like your first one, like put some exclamation points to it?
Yeah, I think the multisensory part of Novel Effect is really critical. I had a parent, they were an educator for like high school, but also a parent to younger kids who used Novel Effect at home, come up to me at a conference recently. And, you know, they shared that at home, their child is, you know, often wanting to play video games and watch movies and have all of those kinds of screen focused activity time after school and before bed. Especially they mentioned they try to limit that, but Novel Effect kind of gives them an in between option that you know, there is that multisensory engaging experience with the sound effects, but they are still putting the screens away and able to share that reading experience with their child, which I thought was a really, really cool thing to share. I know we're all competing with those different distractions, and
You
some are
know,
fun and engaging, but they're not always the right time for them.
what I think is really awesome. I mean, I know that this, Novel Effect is with technology, right? But I really love the idea that once you activate, right? Like once it's activated, it's like it's begging you, like, put the tech down, be present with the book, right? Like all it is doing is, like, think of it as just like the audio. But I really love the fact that even though it is tech based, it's encouraging like that connection with the book and with the grown up and with the children. And I just really love that. So I'm throwing up some of the comments that I see here. About the why, which I really like. This is great. Thank you so much for adding your comments and making this a little bit more interactive. So that idea about it is easy to get started and use, like I just said, like you you can activate it and then you can put your device down and you can be completely present. And I really, really love that about it.
Yeah, and our collection has over 1,000 titles currently, and some of those are ebooks. So parents are able to access those ebooks on their device right there if they do want to just try it out, or more likely than not, they have some of those books already on their shelves. If they do, like you're saying, Mary Alice, want to put the device aside and read from a physical book, they likely already have some on their shelves. And it's a great excuse to go to the local library during the summer and check out some new books that might be new to their child and to them, and read those with Novel Effect as well.
I love it. And I know that we kicked off the webinar talking about like all the different ways that reading really helps to increase literacy skills. And that last I feel like that last quote that we about trying to avoid the summer slide as well. So this is really going to help us in thinking about how our summer reading plan is really going to help our students. So here's just an opportunity. I feel like you're already in the chat talking about things. So I'm just going to move right on to what our reading program, our summer reading program looks like. And so, Haley, I know that we're really excited about this.
Yeah, I'm super, super excited. I'm just going to talk really briefly about what our Novel Effect summer reading program entails. We do have options on our website for schools, districts, and libraries. I'm just going to kind of outline generally what this plan looks like. They're all pretty similar. There's just a few nuances between the three if you want to check those out on our website. But each plan covers access for 3 summer months for teachers or staff in your library, as well as for students, like we're saying, at home or in summer school. So those both apply here. A summer reading program includes 500 physical activation cards. So these are physical cards that will ship to you that have more information for families about what Novel Effect is, how they can download it and get started. And this card will include a QR code that they can scan. And that QR code unlocks the app for them. So they don't need to pay and subscribe. You would be providing that all to your families. And what that looks like is, thanks for switching the slides, Mary Alice. Like I said, 3 months of access to the app. That includes everything. So everything you as a subscriber already see. So all of our soundscapes, all of our in-app ebooks, book activities, and resources. And it also includes free tracking sheets for the summer, so families are able to track at home. I mentioned going to the library. I used to love doing that in the summer to track my reading. So this includes an option to track those books that you are reading at home, or that families rather are reading at home with their student. This is just a little bit more about that onboarding, like I mentioned, that it's super easy, super simple. By including that physical card, we hope that families are able to really easily see what to do, download it, and be off and running from there. You can get more information by scanning this QR code. It'll take you to our website where you can either request a quote, you can explore more information, if you want to pass it on to maybe a principal or somebody else. And like Mary Alice mentioned at the beginning, we are going to be giving one of these plans away during this webinar. So if you share on your social a takeaway from this webinar, we'll be picking somebody at the end of the hour to get this for their whole school. So scan this QR code, get a little more information, request a quote, and I will be the one following up with you so we can talk about the webinar. I can answer any questions, and you can get your students all set up so they are off and running for the summer months.
And this is like the part where we're going to call up our ambassadors. And I'm really excited because like this is, our ambassador group, they are like living this, whether it's in their classrooms, it's in their libraries, and they are going to be sharing, their different ways that you can color your world this summer with summer reading. And so let me just pull them all up, and I'll pull them up by, okay, Andrew. Hi, Andrew. You want to tell us, everybody, where you're joining in from?
Hi, everybody. I am joining from upstate New York. So I live right near Saratoga Springs, which is about a half hour, 45 minutes north of Albany, New York.
Perfect. And then I'm going to pull up Ben. Ben, you want to let everybody know where you're joining in from? Oh, are you on mute? Hold on. Let me unmute you. There you go. Oh.
We keep hitting it back and forth.
Go ahead, Ben.
Hi. Yeah, I'm joining in from South Central Kentucky, 2 hours from Nashville, 2 hours from Louisville. I'm in the middle of everything.
I love it. And then let me pull up Melissa. Melissa Hayes. Ta-da! Hey, Melissa.
I'm so sorry. My background is not on. I had to race home, so I apologize.
You know what? You are sunshine.
You're here.
You are rainbows and unicorns with or without a background. And let everybody know where you're joining in from.
Hilliard, Ohio.
Okay. I love it. I absolutely love it. So the way that we have planned to have our ambassadors share is we're going to pull up some questions, and then we've got some visuals that the three ambassadors have put together, and they're probably just going to say pull up slide number da 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 da, so that we've got a visual, and then we hope that the chat's going to be just really interactive. So the first question, and for our panelists, once you tell me who wants to answer it first or how you want to answer it, but in the chat we'd love to hear, what activities can families do during the summer to extend learning and help young readers color their world?
Want me to jump in on this one?
Sure, we'd love it.
All right. Let me think. What slide? So can you let's go to slide 25. I might go backwards. and
25.
forwards. All right. So it just
Oops.
so this was just a conversation I had with a teacher this year about novel effect, and this kind of led to some really cool activities that I came up with based on this quick conversation. But so one thing that I think is just as important as reading in the summer is getting outside in nature. And I won't bore you with all the research, but it's just healthy. It's healthy for students. And we talked about screen time before, and it's something that students too often don't get enough of. So I was talking to a teacher, and they were about novel effect, and they said this quote basically about how they love novel effect because their goal always is, hey, let's get these students to make a movie in their head, to visualize what they're reading, to visualize what's being read. And that's what novel effect does. It brings that, book to life in their heads through those soundscapes. And so it got me thinking, what if we kind of flip this into nature? So what I do sometimes with students, and this works great in the summertime because nature's noisy in the summer, is we'll start with one of Novel Effects' dozens of like nature-based books that has like a nature-based soundscape. So whether it's animals or wind blowing, anything like that. And then so we'll read that together and we'll talk about the soundscape and what how those sounds related to the story. And then we'll go outside and we'll sit quietly in nature. And the students will let the natural soundscapes that are happening around them guide their own story. And so the things that come out of it are pretty amazing. Like, students will hear birds chirping and they'll create this story about, birds, a family of birds, things like that. And so for the younger students, they'll just kind of illustrate scenes. The older students will write their story. Sometimes there's human sounds mixed with nature sounds, and some pretty cool stories come out of that. So I really like, and I have some other slides in here, and I have some links to some other nature-based activities. But that's one thing that I thought is a really great summer activity, is kind of starting with novel effect and letting that be the springboard into nature-based activities where nature becomes the soundscape. I always feel like that's pretty magical.
Andrew, I just have to jump in and say that like during the pandemic, there was an organization out of the UK, and they were so worried about, when we were in lockdown, that people like wouldn't have access to go outside to nature. And so they live streamed a rock for 2 hours. And then they live streamed, I think, a stream. And it was so you could bring nature sounds inside. But this idea that you were just talking about, to just immerse yourself with these sounds, it's like what a wonderful parallel way when you think about our soundscapes for novel effect as well. It was wonderful. Is there any other that you wanted me to jump to right now to showcase any of the other slides? Or
yeah, I don't want to take up the whole time right now, but if you want to just quickly, you can go to the slide before that. So this is just an example of another thing that I did with a class actually a couple weeks ago, called So we read Over and Under the Pond with the soundscapes within it, but then the students also placed trail cameras last spring. Actually, they have a pond in the back of the school. On the pond, it's like this wetland near the Hudson River. And so they were able to capture like videos of a whole bunch of different animals that lived on their campus over and under the pond. So they got, ducks, they got beavers, they got all those cool things. So that's a great one. Anytime you can bring technology and nature together, that's always, a bonus. And I won't go through the whole other one, but if you just go to slide 26, I think. And that's just, I'll just highlight that. That's just a link to a whole bunch of different activities that you can do in nature. Some of them are tech-based. Some of them are completely low-tech or no-tech. But I just feel like with a lot of this, using novel effect as that springboard into nature for students is powerful. And it's one of my favorite ways to use novel effect. And you have so many nature-based books that it's easy.
Well, and I know that for World Read Aloud Day, that you actually used the novel effect book on, Over and Under, and you connected with another ambassador classroom, and you did that activity together, which I just think is just another great example of the power of connecting, right?
And they read Over and Under the Snow. We read Over and Under the Pond, and it was cool because we were in two different locations, and so we were showing them, here's the wetlands that we live near, and here's some of the animals, and they were telling us, where they are and some of the different tracks that they see in the snow outside of their school district. So, really cool way to connect regionally, and and that was with pre-K students, and it was fun to see them.
That's
See a
fantastic.
different place. Yeah.
Well, for that next question, I'm going to put up, and this is, if Ben, Melissa, you want to jump in at any point, but also in the chat, how does reading at home positively impact young learners? So, in fact, it'll be good. You were just talking, Andrew, that was a PK class, but you work with all elementary, right?
Oh yeah. So I've used it with some of those writing the initial writing project I was talking about. I've done with kindergarten through 5th grade.
Perfect. I know that Ben works with our littles, and then Melissa, you're in, I think, 2nd grade, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
You tell me, Ben or Melissa, if you wanted to jump in.
So you go, Ben. I'll go after.
But also a shout out to you for 2nd grade. I love 2nd grade. I taught that for student teaching. Was one of the best I ever done. So hats off to you on that. Let's say, so if you want to go to slide 27, I believe is the one out there. So the question we're asking about is how to get young children fascinated. I'm a preschool teacher, and with my classroom, we have a lot of students with different needs. And the cool thing, though, is that when we use novel effect stories, they are like glued to the carpet. And I love the imagination that it can spring from them, especially when they hear those sound effects. And our entire book center is all novel effect, and it has gotten so popular. Kids are over there all the time now, and they're asking me to read them stories, which I love. So it's proven that it does work, and it gets young children fascinated. When I got to thinking about summer books, this book series, the How to Catch series from Source Books, this was the one that popped into my head because it really encourages children's fascination with exploration, constructing, building, all those books. And I think you can go to the next slide there if you don't care.
And by the way, Ben, you connected for World Read Aloud Day, and I can see in the chat, Julie Bennett, you connected with Julie in Canada, and her class read a book, and then you read a book, which I love. So,
oh yes,
I just saw her in the chat. So,
yeah, that's awesome. Hi, Julie. But all the pictures here are from different versions of the books, and all these kids are trying to catch these different animals and creatures, and it's so cool because it's all stuff that we have around our homes or things that we can easily get and build. And so I think that's really great for students and for all children, honestly, to have that creativity. And, you see in these pictures, there's not one tablet or tech. And to kind of carry over with what Andrew said earlier, after the pandemic, I saw that was a major thing. A lot of kids just it's like they lost that imagination because the tablets did it all for them. So I love how these books are useful for that. I've got How to Catch Dragons, Unicorn, Dinosaur, and they're all great. The kids get to create traps with them. We've actually, if you'll go one more slide over, please. This was one we did for How to Catch a Leprechaun. Obviously, we did it for St. Patrick's Day. I gave them a cardboard box, and they were able to build a trap with it with doors and springs and all the stuff. Like I said, the materials you need, it's all stuff you can get at home or at the dollar store relatively cheap. And so it's really, I think it's a great way for kids to spark that imagination. When I was a kid, I'm going to age myself here, there was no tablets back then. So for me, when I was a kid, paper, scissors, tape, that was the things in the world that made me the happiest ever. I was building stuff all the time. I think when I was a young teenager, I actually built an Ewok village. And that's from Star Wars, if you don't know what that is. I built it in the local woods using sticks and grass strings. So I think some of our students have lost some of that, just getting out there in nature and being creative like that. So I think with these books and the soundscapes like that, it encourages them, hey, let's go outside. Let's go to the zoo. Let's go to the beach, because all those stories are happening in different locations like that.
Ben, I love that you use the How to Catch a Books as a jumping off point for these kinds of like activities. I know during COVID, I worked with a group of second graders, and it was like on Fridays, we were always raiding the recycling bins to do these kinds of just, what can we build? What can we make? Often traps were one of them, but to have that focused on a book, and then bring it outside too, to connect with Andrew's point earlier, and what things can you use in nature to build and create. Maybe it's a trap, maybe it's a house, is really, really cool.
Yeah, there was one with how to catch a dinosaur, and that one is it's out in nature. It's in the local park and stuff. So that one you could easily do around outside your school and nature stuff. You could set different traps. One thing we do every year, we have, I set the leprechaun traps, then we go outside to the playground to see if we catch anything. And I always have another teacher come in and tear up the room. So it's like flip over the traps, leave a note saying better luck next year. Oh gosh, last year the music teacher came in. He literally poured glitter all over the tables. When I walked in, my first thought was, I'm going to kill him. Me and my assistant about had a stroke when we saw all the glitter.
That's not easy. That's not easy to clean up. That could take years to clean up.
He used the whole thing too.
I love it. I love it. I happen to also not just be a teacher, but like a mom. And so my son happens to be 18 now, but when he was little, like one of my favorite things, we had a backpack that was specific. It was like the nature backpack, and it would have journals and magnifying glass, and it would have bug boxes, and it'd have a compass and binoculars. And so it was like, I feel like both what Andrew and Ben were talking about, like you go on like a nature, like a treasure hunt, right? To find things. But if you wanted to also collect things to help in building something, like this is going to go hand in hand with our summer reading program this summer to get students really to be able to color their world in a really significant way. So I really miss that now that he's 18. I have to tell you, I really miss those days with that nature backpack. And I would do anything to be able to go back in that time and do it again. So I'm excited about all of these ideas for this summer. Melissa, my friend.
Okay.
Another question, that other question, or you just tell me?
I want to piggyback on Ben, because when I was doing my slides, I had the trap. We do an elf trap and we catch it with one of their traps. But I even taught on COVID. So I was the one who made the stems every single week. So I taught all year on COVID, online, didn't see my kids. And I would drop off at each of the houses STEM supplies, because the equity piece, I wanted to make sure everyone had everything they needed to do the stems each week. But it was funny because when I was looking at those slides, I was like, got it. I love it. So I just wanted to piggyback on that. I was going to share, I think it's slide 30.
You tell me as I get close.
That one.
Okay.
So we read the book, Ruby Finds a Worry, and we blend in the SDGs. So SDG 3, and actually I presented for World Maker Day. And then what was the Ditch Sit, I think it was?
Yep, our Ditch Sit Summit.
Yeah. So I read the book and it completely connected with mental health and how they feel in the classroom, anxious, worried, stressed. So if you click on the book, it shows all the things that they made. And I completely agree with the, down the iPad, but I'm very blended. I like to use the iPad not to do the work for me, but to enhance the work that I'm doing. So if you click on that book, it should take you to a Padlet. Does it take you or no?
Oh, you know what? It does take me to a Padlet, and but unfortunately, the way that I have it set up, I'm going to put the Padlet in our chat in here.
Okay. So basically, on the Padlet, it shows like the kids could be in a group, like a small group or individual. I had one kid on GarageBand doing a melody that's very somber and calming to help with someone who's stressed and worried and anxious. I had another kid go on CodeSpark and do like an informational like story about a kid who might be stressed and then problem solve on ways to help them. I had kids doing stress balls and writing like a calendar and recording their feelings each month. So it was a great way for them to take ownership. And a lot of kids use the products that they created. And the whole kickoff was just novel effect and reading a book about Ruby, who was worried, and how to break that down and help with stress and worry. And a lot of kids use it still to this day. So, and then
I love it. I do want you to know, I don't know, see if you see it in the chat, that somebody just said, I've never heard about app smashing. And I specifically for this webinar wanted to invite you because you really are the master at it. So,
well, I like technology. I know people don't like it, and I balance it. Like my kids write a lot. They use the tech to enhance what they're doing. So like on Novel Effect, I think the next slide was Creepy Carrots, and a lot of people do their own Creepy Carrots, and it's super cute. And my kids do their Creepy Carrots, and then they app smash with ChatterKid, and then they give that carrot a voice. And it could be an alternate to an ending of the book. It could be a funny message. I know one of the kids said something like, we're watching you crossing elementary, Mrs. Hayes, who keeps stealing our carrots, or something funny like that. So this was fun and a great way for them to, enhance their creativity and give their product a voice. So, and a lot of these apps that we use in the classroom, the parents even ask me, and they use it at home to enhance what they do at home. So, and then I think the next slide is just more enhancing. Like, yeah, we use Word Collector, and then the kids create their one words for the new year. So, and then there's a QR code because they expand on why they chose that one word. For example, one of them is calm. And the girl said, I get so anxious because I want everything to be perfect. So I just need to take a deep breath and calm, or do a take 5 strategy. So the QR gives more detail to their one word. So my ideas were just more crafty, but yet tech is kind of integrated into it. So, and I think the last one, we do Genius Hour in our classroom. So it's all passion projects. So I use any of those 3 books. What do you do with a problem? What do you do with an idea? Most Magnificent Thing. And it's a great kickstart to our Genius Hour. What are you passionate about? What you love? What do you not like? What annoys you? And then the kids kind of brainstorm, and then they come up with what they want to showcase to the class. They do slides on Keynote. They're the teacher. And then it's not all a set and get. They get up and actually teach us something. In this case, the 2 pictures were Taekwondo. They came in their gear. They brought their gear. They showed us how to break boards. It was craziness. And then the other one was gymnastics. Each kid brought in mats and little trampolines, and they had stations. And they were the teachers. I just watched. So, Novel Effect is great kickoff springboard for all these things.
I love it. And can I just mention, because this is just good digital citizenship, good for, sharing out pictures, is especially if we, not everybody is a connected educator putting what's the learning that's happening on social media platforms. But I just noticed that you are protecting the identity of your students with emojis. So you want to just talk about that? Because I feel like that's a teachable moment right then and there.
I think all the parents are fine, but just to be safe, and these are all like the first 2 pictures are last year's. This one is last year's. So we're just now presenting our Genius Hour this year. So I do that just for safekeeping. And then I show them, they're like, oh my goodness, I'm a heart. And everyone liked it.
I love that. I love that.
Privacy for the kids.
And for anybody, for our audience that's joining, that like maybe app smashing is new, or, using just different technology the way that you do. I have to say, I'm not tech savvy. Like I do a lot of things in the tech space, but like, you don't have to be tech savvy. You just have to have this willingness and this disposition to allow your students to kind of take the lead, right? And get to model like learning side by side. So, and in learning side by side, can I show the next slide? Because this just fits perfectly, because Color My World should also include accessibility and disability for, our collection in Novel Effect as well.
Yeah, so I'm hoping, I know a lot of my teachers at my school have put in requests for this book, especially next month because it's World Down Syndrome Day. We don't really have a Down syndrome book in Novel Effect. And this is an amazing book, not because I wrote it, but because it is about my daughter who is on that picture. She has Down syndrome. And when she was little, she made square rainbows. She didn't have the easiest time in elementary school. It was back then where she went to the resource room and they would say, go to the room, here's the cart, pick up something. She wasn't included in the family. There were some kids, they weren't mean, but they didn't have that family atmosphere, that accepting of everyone's differences. So this is a great book that just showcases a rainbow that wants to be what she thinks is normal, but really it's embracing who you were born to be and being proud of that. So,
and I just feel like that rainbow and that idea of color your world, it's really perfect. It's just another reminder for, we've been talking a lot about nature, but, here's opportunities within the Novel Effect to also like look at some of our collections for, accessibility and disabilities. So, I'm going kind of backwards to make sure that we have, I think this is our last big question. And thanks everybody for jumping in the chat. It's been really interactive. It's been wonderful. We'd love to hear from, our panelists, but also in the chat. How does reading during these summer months help prepare for that transition into the new, grade, the new school year? And it'd be great to hear from the panelists, like, as you're getting ready for your summer reading plans, who are those key people? Like, I just know, Andrew, because you're a tech, integrator. If I were in the classroom, I'd want to be making sure, like, I was working with you to make sure that, like, the tech was ready for, the Novel Effect summer reading program. Like, I'd want to make sure for my students it was all set up. I'd want to be working with my librarians. It'd just be great to hear, how you're preparing now, but also, how does this help summer reading to prepare our students for the next school year?
Yeah, I mean, that's reading over the summer is the number one indicator of, stopping regression going into the next grade level. We see that with transition from every grade level. And the biggest obstacle to summer reading is engagement. And so Novel Effect, creates that engagement for the students. It makes that reading so much more engaging. So it's for the students and like, as we've seen just through everybody's examples, these books, especially when you start them with Novel Effect and grab that student's or that child's attention right away, these books can just be springboards into so many different things, whether it's really cool tech projects, whether it's nature-based things, whether it's, creating traps and different STEM ideas. When the students are reading over the summer and then they're connecting that reading to authentic learning experiences, like we're seeing here, then that student's just going to, the student's not going to regress, that student's going to grow. And that's, for any upcoming grade level teacher, that's just, and for that student to start the year with confidence, it's huge.
Ben and Melissa, you want to?
Yeah, I'd like to add on a little bit there. First thing, real quick, I was thinking of it when Melissa was saying earlier about how she shared the kids doing the taekwondo and the gymnastics and stuff. And I know a lot of teachers and other people look at that and be like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. My kids would lose their brains over that. But what's funny is, though, in 7 years of doing it, every single crazy idea that I thought was going to kill me lesson has always been the ones that worked out the best. They've always been the most impactful, the most fun, and it's not near as crazy as far as like behavior stuff. So if you have a crazy idea, I say go for it, because those usually end up being the best ones that work out. But on there at the summer reading, that's a big one for us, because the whole mantra, so to say, of preschool is to get them kindergarten ready. And the trouble we have a lot of times we see is there's like 2-3 months between when they were with us in preschool and then go to kindergarten. Because then when they screen them, they're like, well, they don't know this. I was like, well, I've got data here says they knew it 3 months ago. So we're always that summer lag, I guess, or summer gap is always when we're trying to combat there. And one thing our school, we do a lot of in our district, we do a kindergarten readiness camp. So we do a week of the students who are coming to kindergarten, and they come in and get to experience it. And I've done it a couple years, and we've used the soundscapes for it to do different activities for it. And it's really, I think that's a big thing to do, is just with your school, with your area, just to have those summer programs like that, to where you could invite kids to come and have those experiences and get to really have that time and that educational opportunities. One thing I've noticed a lot for sure, and also being able to just provide resources for parents too, because last year we had a lot of kids that did really well, and I had a lot of parents too. They were there at all the PTO meetings. They were there for the events. And so I always made sure that I sent home stuff with them, good stuff that they could use. We even had a preschool for parents night, and the grand prize was a month to Novel Effect. We got them a month subscription. And not only did my student do it, but also her older sister came to me and said, we love using that at night. So I thought that was really cool, them getting to do that.
That's fabulous. You just brought me back in time. I remember going for that like kind of boot camp for kindergarten, getting ready for kindergarten. It's a good memory.
I always loved it. That's where I got started, was kindergarten. And so I like doing the camp when I can, because it's like I get to go home for a little bit.
I love it.
I completely agree with Andrew and Ben. I think it should be a partnership. I know in the beginning of the year, a latter part, we always do like a curriculum night and talk about things. And the number one thing in second grade is kids don't like to read. They don't like to read. They can't find books that they enjoy. And like Andrew said, we got to hook them first. And I always bring up Novel Effect. And I'm like, you can have the free version. There's some books there. Try it out. See if you like it. And it's like a light bulb. I think if I had that, I would like reading much better in elementary school. But that partnership of communicating that, I think, is huge. Because in second grade, sometimes they don't like what they're reading. And if we can hook them, which Novel Effect is the best hook, because it's that magic of seeing the book come alive is the best thing. And then they can use it all summer and go to the library and get those books.
That just makes me think, I happen to be an untraditional learner. I am dyslexic. And I think if I had Novel Effect as when I was really struggling in elementary school, in fact, I wasn't diagnosed right away, right? It would have been a game changer. And so I just think of like my own experience as just a reader. I do love to read, despite like it wasn't easy for me. But this really, what you just said, Melissa, about having it as like a hook, I would have felt successful. I would have worked harder to activate, the soundscapes. Yeah. I just would have been really motivated. So I don't know if the three of you have any students that might have been like me as a struggling reader, how effective this is.
Well, and it's so funny because we have Daily 5, which they have a voice and a choice of what they want to read, where they want to go. And I have a basket of all Novel Effect books. And I'll say, so-and-so, it's your turn. They'll grab my iPad and they'll be me. And they'll be sitting at the carpet listening to the story as the kid reads it and the Novel Effect goes. It's the highlight of Daily 5. And I just started it like a couple weeks ago, but you would have thought it was like gold.
I love it. Well, Daily 5, that's a great like takeaway for, we've asked for social media. I hope everybody's had an opportunity to share on your platform, like your takeaway. Daily 5 for me, if I'm ever going back to the classroom, I'm taking that one, Melissa.
Definitely, I agree with them on the hook part there. I've had students that were it was hard to get them to be still. We've had a lot of students that it's like having squirrels with Mountain Dew. That's how energetic and vibrant they were. But whenever I would use novel effect, they would just park it. They were so engaged and so hooked with it. And now this year, with us having the app on our class tablet in the book center for them to use, they're going there and they love it when they can trigger the words themselves and get the sound effects. And they really enjoy it. This year, right now, their favorite is Brown Bear, what do you see? Because that one they can pretty much do by themselves, and they love to trigger the soundscapes.
That's really fabulous. Well, I know that, let me see. I'm going to just go. Andrew, anything else you wanted to? Again, everybody that has registered will be sending these slides, so you'll have access to all of these links and these resources. But I wanted to make sure that I pull up. Oh, I went too far. I pull up our co-founder and novel effect extraordinaire. I wonder if we are going to be able to fit. Oh, we are. Yes, Melissa. I didn't know if we were all going to fit our boxes, but
There
Melissa,
we go.
we have a big, exciting thing happening as well. I know that we're talking about summer reading, our program for young people, but here's an opportunity for some summer reading for grownups too, and a big news that's happening in April. So thank you for joining us, and thanks for actually creating this amazing resource.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited to be joining. So thanks for letting me hop on. This my first time being on this side of the StreamYard. And I'm just really excited to be here to talk with you guys about Rock Your Read Aloud. It's a book that that's been in the works, I guess, for 10 years since we started Novel Effect. I wrote it with Matt, my partner in life, my partner in business. He's out running some errands right now, so he couldn't join us. But, when we started Novel Effect, we were just parents who knew that reading would be critical to helping our child, do well in school and in life in general. But we had all these questions, right? And we didn't really know how to make reading a central part of our family life. And so we had an idea, and that is the foundation of Novel Effect. And we just kind of ran with it. And in the 10 years since we started, we've been really lucky to be surrounded by educators like these guys here with us, and educators like you who have been able to answer our questions and give us tips and tricks and secrets, and get us to where we are today. And so this book is really just sort of the it's not a culmination, because we're going to keep going, but it's kind of everything that we've learned from all of you so far, all in one place. And it publishes, like Mary Alice said, on April 1st. It's full of all the things that we have learned. You can pre-order it on our website if you scan the QR code here. When you pre-order it, you get 160 pages of learning activities to go along with the titles that we highlight in the book. You'll also get a 12-month calendar with all kinds of books and things that you can read throughout the year in your classrooms or at home, and then an invitation to our virtual launch party. So I invite you to check it out and pre-order it if you are interested, and join us. Thank you.
I really love the idea of why can't grownups, like this idea of reading for pleasure, why I want to be part of a book club. This is not just a summer reading program for our students, our young readers, but this is just really wonderful. And I think I'm really excited for the launch in April, and that we got to share it as well during this webinar right now. And as Melissa said, if you scan that, you can pre-order it. And I don't know. I love the idea about Rock Your Read Aloud, because those are all the skills necessary for really perfecting our read alouds for engaging our young readers. So thanks so much for joining us, Melissa.
Yeah, thank you.
I love it. Well, we're getting ready for the end of the time, but before I end with our 3 ambassadors, I just am putting this up. So if anyone joining us is, interested in becoming an ambassador, Melissa, Ben, Andrew, like why should anybody be interested if they wanted to join us and be an ambassador?
It's fun. it's honestly, it's just a great product, and it's a great part to be. And this team is amazing, and so, it's definitely it's a fun side hobby, I guess you'd say, and it's not a terribly heavy lift, I guess, if you're worried about like too much work as far as being an ambassador. But it's just nice to be a part of this great work and to feel like you're really connected to it. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I'm with Andrew on that one. I really enjoy getting to be an ambassador and sharing, because again, we all love the product. We love what it does, and we love the impact, and we love to share it. And I think that's what really helps with it, is because we all use it. We all, whether we're from preschool to middle school and everything in the middle, or wherever, everyone, even just families at home. I think it's a great tool for everyone to have, especially to help our young readers.
It's amazing people and amazing ideas. Just like tonight, I'm gaining more knowledge. So it's just a great atmosphere, family sharing a great product that is changing the face of education. So.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say amen to all that. And we just moved our ambassador group to our Slack channel, and there's just so much engagement with the entire team. And we're just getting ready. We're also gearing up for Read Across America. And so make sure that you have downloaded the Read Across America book map. And then March Madness is a great book bracket. That's another great download for everybody to get ready for the month of March as well. So our big winner, chicken dinner. So our social media winner is Celeste. And I'm going to, Haley, are you better at pronouncing? I want to make sure that I know it's Lopez, but Garza?
Yes, Celeste Garza Lopez. I see you in the chat. If you're still on, I'll drop my email address so you can reach out to me to expedite this, but we'll also reach out to you on social to help get your summer reading plan set up for your school. So congrats, Celeste, and thank everybody who shared on social their takeaways and for joining us tonight.
Yay! And then Haley, for just to kind of sum things up, and if people jumped in later into the webinar, let's just recap what the Novel Effect Summer Reading Program is all about.
Yeah, sorry, I'm doing 2 things at once, typing in the chat. So you can scan this QR code to take you to the webpage to learn a little bit more, request a quote. Like I mentioned, summer reading at Novel Effect gets you and your students 3 months of access to Novel Effect for teachers and for families at home to be reading. That's access to all of our soundscapes, ebooks, book activities and resources, special tracking sheets for the summer. Really, really awesome way to use Novel Effect as a launching pad for all the great ideas that you heard tonight and beyond. So we really would love to connect with you all and bring this to your students during the summer months.
That's perfect. So we want to thank our panelists for sharing your time and your expertise. We want to thank everyone that joined us live. And, for the month of February to already be thinking about summer reading is really exciting. And reach out to our team to help make it even more magical. And I see in the chat, is this being recorded? Yes, this is being recorded. Anybody that registered, you'll get the link to this recording. You'll get the slides as well, so that you'll have all of these resources. And we thank you all. Melissa, you got any last parting words for the end of our webinar?
Me, Melissa?
Yes, you, Melissa.
Oh, there's 2 Melissas here. No, just thank you all for coming and joining us or watching. we're always happy to help. We're always here to help. So if there's any questions that you have, or anything that we can do to help you, help your students love reading, please reach out and let us know.
Perfect. And again, thank you all. And we're looking forward to continuing to connect with you on our social media platforms. And happy summer reading.
Yeah, happy reading, everybody.
That's right. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.